January 27th, 2026 meeting of the Richmond Sanitary District Board of Commissioners is called to order. The first item of business is approval of board minutes from the January 13th of 2026 meeting.
President Miller,
Yes, Mr. Bakshi?
motion to approve the board minutes from January 13th, 2026 as presented.
And I will second the motion. There's a motion and a second to approve the board minutes from January 13th of 2026 as presented. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item of business is the approval of invoices from January 9th of 2026 and January 16th of 2026.
President Miller,
Yes, Mr. Bakshi.
motion for approval of invoices from check dates January 9th and January 16th, 2026. The total amount was $1,238,883.32. Notables included BBC Pump and Equipment Company for $15,742, Converto Manufacturing, Inc. for $27,342, SMK Equipment Company for $19,659, two from McAllister's Machinery Co., one in the amount of $116,875, and the second for $590,611. Merrill Brothers, Inc. for $221,203.93. Richmond Power and Light for $53,884.06. And two from USPS, first in the amount of $50,000 and second for $10,000.
And I will second the motion. There's a motion and a second to approve invoices from check dates January 9th of 2026 and January 16th of 2026 totaling $1,238,883.32. Questions or comments? I did have one. Usually our Merrill seems really high in the spring when it's wet. Is that right? Is this odd to be?
So we typically do 3 haul outs with Merrill Brothers to land apply our biosolids. It's the spring. There's usually a summer one, which is when summer wheat comes down. So it depends on how much wheat application is there, and then fall. But the spring and fall tend to be much heavier application time periods. And fall and spring are very weather dependent. Fall, you typically, from when crops come down, which they came down fairly early this year, we had a long window. But once the ground freezes, it really changes the dynamic of how you can apply or if you can apply. It normally is knifed in once the ground freezes. There are a lot of different rules, and you can surface apply, so we tend not to apply at all during the winter. Spring, we have to deal with rain because farmers are wanting to have their crops out. The field has to be so dry before we apply, and when we apply, it's like the equivalent of like a 1-inch rain, so then you have to wait for that to dry. So we run into those things. So we typically, in the spring, we have ground to make up from where we hauled in the fall. But this one is slightly larger. I don't want to say slightly larger, but it came later in the year. We held off as we were doing pretty good. We had some good summer application. So we held to late fall so that gap between the spring, depending on what the weather does, is better. Because if we can't apply the normal application way, we have to either dry the solids or have them hauled off site. Both of those cost twice as much per gallon. So since that's the hardest part of the weather and the tightest window in the spring, we tried to go as late as we could this year on our fall.
Reduce your on-site volume.
Exactly. We maximized what we could through the fall and then did the latest application we could do.
Okay, thank you. As I said, there was a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. That takes us to the director's report.
Yes, Madam President and Board, I'm working on that year-end report as we spoke about last time. In addition, just some quick updates with the snow. The district did plow the alleys for our trash collection for days today and tomorrow, so everything should be on schedule. We are working today and tomorrow to make sure we have the alleys cleared for the Thursday, Friday trash routes. So as of now, we're completely on schedule and business as usual in all aspects of the sanitary district. The landfill is back open. It's operable today. So.
Okay. So if people are putting their cans out, they need to get in front of the snow, but not impeding the
Yes,
road.
and with the way we plowed the alleys, it should all be workable then for the cans.
But even on the street, side where the tile
The
is.
same aspect, yeah, right. It's got to be, we got to be able to reach it with the truck, so
It's a mess out there.
it is.
Thank you, and thanks to all your team working through this nasty, nasty cold weather we've had and will continue to have this coming week. The next item of business is the recommendation to approve the inter-category budget transfer.
Yes, Madam President and Board. If you remember, later in the year, last year, we did a transfer similar to this, which is a case of the city has reevaluated how it defines capital purchases. It used to kind of be like blocks of, if you're buying the same item, but lots of it, right, or a lot of things towards that, it exceeded 5,000, we would put it in capital before. Now they want singular items to exceed $5,000. So whereas we had a case last year for something where we bought the exact same thing, but we shifted it, it was more appropriate not to be in capital, but to be in like a supplies line or a services line. That is what you're seeing here. We are going to buy the exact same things, but we are moving them out of capital, which is no longer the more appropriate account. So a big example of that is parts for our trash containers. That's a large part of this, where it's a lot of small pieces, but we sometimes spend like $50,000 to $100,000 on that, and that includes 3-yard tubs, the Rosies, the Richies, all of that. But a lot of the purchases are small pieces. So, but talking through finance, it is more appropriate to put it in a 2,000 account for since the individual items are small priced.
Okay. Any questions? If not, I will entertain a motion.
President Miller,
Yes, Mr. Bakshi?
motion for recommendation to approve the inter-category budget transfer as presented.
And I will second the motion. There's a motion and a second to approve the inter-category budget transfer as presented. Further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. That takes us to the next item of business, which is the recommendation to enter into an agreement for the purchase of tires.
Yes, Madam President, Board Member. We purchase all of our tires from Greens Fork Alignment of Centerville, Indiana. Green Fork has the ability to keep tires in stock that we use regularly. If we can't keep them at our place, Greens Fork has worked with the Sanitary District for several years now, helping us keep the cost of tire usage to a minimum. Per our contract 12/2024, it states that we can extend the agreement on a year-to-year basis if we both are in agreement with the terms of the agreement. Greens Fork held the cost of the tires for us as the same cost for the past 2 years. This year, there was a slight increase of about $107.17 across the board. So it's my recommendation to the board to keep this agreement with Greens Fork Alignment with addendum number 1 to contract 12/2024 at the cost of each tire as presented. If approved, this will start February 1st, 2026 and expire January 31st, 2027, with the option to renew in between those years, renew each year as the contract states.
Thank you. Any questions? Or I will entertain a motion.
President Miller,
Yes, Mr. Bakshi?
motion for recommendation to enter into agreement for the purchase of tires as presented.
And I will second the motion. There's a motion and a second to enter into the agreement for the purchase of tires as presented. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. That takes us to the next item of business, which is the recommendation to approve the addendum to contract 53-2022 with Cintas.
Yes, Madam President, Board Member. We currently have our laundry service with Cintas of Muncie, Indiana. I made contact with them to get an updated cost of the current service. We did enter into an agreement, contract number 53-2022 with Cintas on January 20th of 2023. The Cintas, as Cintas is the current QPA holder for the state, Cintas is still, will still service our floor mats, laundry, and supplies. I'm recommending to the board to continue the service with Cintas of Muncie with the QPA price for this year starting January 21st, 2026, and ending December 31st, 2028. This will be an addendum number 1 to contract 52-2022. This being a 3-year contract addendum, I would like for the sanitary district to have the option to renew each year as stated in the tabulation sheets. Year 2027 and 2028 are quoted with the same current price of this year, 2026. So they didn't, per their quote, they did not increase from this year to the 2028.
Okay.
And I don't know if I listed that QPA state number, which is 211113541, which is the QPA number.
Questions? Then I will entertain a motion.
President Miller,
Yes, Mr. Bakshi?
motion for recommendation to approve addendum to contract 53-2022 with Cintas as presented.
And I will second the motion. There's a motion and a second to approve the addendum to contract 53-2022 with Cintas as presented. Any further questions or comments? I don't know if you even said it, maybe you did. Did you clear with law that it was okay to extend rather than, when is it okay to extend and when do we need to do a new one?
Law has always put that in there for us.
Okay,
Actually,
so the original one did have the
yes.
options. Okay. I was just thinking, since it was several years back, if there's anything new that we have to put in any of these contracts that they would.
Well, and that's one reason I asked to go ahead and be able to have the option to renew this addendum the couple more years.
Renewing it. Okay, thank you. We have had a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. That takes us to miscellaneous. Anything else today? If not, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn,
So moved.
and I will second the motion. We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned, and no stormwater.
Thank you.
Okay.